Let's go to the next story. This one comes straight out of Compton from one of our mods. Tyrepo gave this to me. So thank you, Tyrepo, for this. He was like, hey, take a look at this new ship being built. It's a badass. And yeah, they put a lot of weapons on this little frigate here. So let's talk about the MEKO A-300. The story comes from Naval News, written by Typhon Osberg. Typhon Osberg. Full credit to Typhon. He says the TKMS, this is a German shipyard right here, lifts the veil on the powerful MEKO A-300 class frigate. They built a small ship, put a ton of weapons on it, and we will go over all of them. Okay, the MEKO A-300 is a powerful frigate supporting 68 surface-to-air missiles. That's insane. That's as much as the Arleigh Burke, which is a destroyer. And 42 point defense missiles. That's as much as our aircraft carrier. Jesus Christ. And 16 anti-ship missiles. Well, there you go, folks. That's how you build a warship. Take note. That's a freaking warship right there. It's fast, it's small, and it's got more... It's bristling with weapons. Hell yes. Oh, I got an erection. That's awesome. I haven't had one of those in a while. Okay, the September 29th to 30 representative of the shipyard provided data of the MEKO A-300 PL class frigate to the company that's proposing the Polish Navy. Oh, they're trying to sell this to Poland to take part in the program as well. Okay, so the Polish defense media outlet Defense 24 said, according to the information, the infographics provided by the firm, MEKO A-300 class frigates will be strongly equipped and fully functional assets capable of fighting 3 operating environments: air, surface, and submerged. So because it has a helo deck as well. From the shipyard, it says the MEKO A-300 object is specifically developed to secure actions in high-risk air, surface, and submerged conditions, such as present in NATO's eastern flank in the Baltic region. And this is a great little drawing here. I'll have to zoom it in just a touch. But what they did, this is all about survivability. Like, look how where they put the main switchboards and the generators, they spread it out, throughout the hull here. So if you severely damage, the aft end, you still have some power on other circuits in the forward end and so forth. Lots of redundancy. That's the word I'm looking for. Lots of redundancy here. All right, back to the piece. It says survivability, resilience to adversary operations, detection, reduction are all available technical observation systems, stealth technology, lethality available to hit specific targets, and adaptability in diverse missions were presented as the 4 key strengths of the MEKO A-300. Like, any Navy in the world would want a ship like this. It's small, which means it's relatively inexpensive, has a ton of weapons on it, has some stealth integrated into it, and is capable of fighting in 3 domains: air, sea, and subsea. Awesome. Well done. Okay, to improve firefighting and NBC protection, that's nuclear, biological, and chemical protection, the ship is divided into 2 primary zones, front and aft islands, a feature already adopted in the F-125 class frigate for the German Navy. Furthermore, the ship's weaponry and sensors are split into 2 islands in order to keep the ship fighting while it's coping with fire or damage. The frigate's missile, gun, and torpedo weapons are specifically zoned. Aside from the ECD antenna system, sensors were further divided by placing 2 navigational radars in the front mast and 1 in the back mast, for example. So lots of redundancy and even navigation. The CIC has been doubled. The primary CIC is usually found forward section, while a backup, smaller CIC is located in the stern, just behind the task deck, under the hangar. Oh, so it's like down here under the hangar. Interesting. MEKO A-300 frigates will be armed with 2 VLS systems, according to the infographics. A Mark 41 VLS 4x8 cell launcher in the forward section, and the Shroud, all these, low-rad TBMD missiles, and a 36 VLS between the mast. Wow, that is crazy. It's going to have 2 of the VLS launchers. Ship will be armed with 2 RAM launchers, carrying 21 missiles each for close-in point defense. The new frigate appears to be outfitted with a multi-layer air defense that includes a range of SAMs, resulting in MEKO A-300 frigate can engage 16 air targets simultaneously with at least 2 missiles each. That's great. 4 quad launchers will be bow mounted between the 2 masts. These can be used to launch anti-ship and land attack missiles against surface targets or land targets. Two triple 324 millimeter torpedo launchers. That's 32. That's smaller than a 40 centimeter. Those are really small torpedo launchers will be deployed. I wonder what the range of a 32 centimeter torpedo is. That might be like a defensive. I imagine it doesn't go very far. Huh. It's a really small torpedo is my point. The main gun will be a 127 by 64 millimeter Volcano, according to, along with a ram point defense missile system, PDMS. The ship will receive two high energy lasers, front and rear, which will be likely used to counter low, slow flying like drones. Yep. Two lasers. Wow. And look at the mission modules. So this is very similar, I believe, to the LCS idea of you can swap out modules for different equipment like mine detection and things like that. But let's just see what the piece says before I go off on that tangent. The mission modules are one of the most significant components of the MEKO A-300 Frigate. The stern slip in the module provides very quick release and retrieval of at least two flat bottom motorboats. Okay. 11 meters in length. So they could pull up motorboats, but you can do more than that, hence the name multi-mission. Let's see if they mention, there it is. The modules can be outfitted for towed array sonar and anti-submarine warfare. The container-based task modules may also include 53 centimeter heavy torpedoes. Oh, they could launch torpedoes out the back. That's really cool. Yeah, nice. If they have the right container on board for it. Because like I said, that other torpedo, 32 centimeters, that's a firecracker. That's not, what is that going to do? But you launch a 53 centimeter torpedo, you're blowing something up. Like, yeah, like the Swordfish initiative. Yeah, you can shoot the Swordfish out of the back of this thing. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's awesome. Because that's a great torpedo. Long range, very fast. Okay, Poland has formed a consortium comprising of the Polish armaments group PGZ Naval Shipyard to purchase 3 of these, which is great. You can keep one at sea if you have 3 of them all the time. They don't necessarily need to, but that's a great idea. Or you could maybe not have one at sea at all times, but you could configure them, 2 of the 3 for 2 different missions, one ASW and one for small boat operations, and have that third one, you know, ready to go in case you need to replace one of the first 2 for whatever reason. Let's see if they talk about time here. Okay, the single prototype frigate is planned to be completed in 2028. So we're still 7 years away from a prototype. The second frigate will be delivered to the Polish Navy by 2033. So they are buying 3 of these. That's already been decided. And the third one by 2034. Excellent. This is really good. I'm really impressed with this design. And full credit to Typhon Ozbek here. Here you see a picture of him. Great job reporting this. This thing's a battleship. It's got a lot of capability. What do you guys think of this MEKO A-300 frigate? Yeah, Deadlock Gunner says, I want one of those frigates. Me too, man. Me too. Jimmy says, what's your opinion on technology versus survivability? Complexity versus simplicity. I've found that in wartime environments, keeping it simple to survive works. Yeah, there's benefits to both. Like, you can make complex systems simple. That's what we do in submarines a lot because they have knuckleheads like me trying to operate those systems. And so you need to make it as simple to operate and understand as possible. We should buy that design. I know this is what the LCS should have been. You know, you put this on a catamaran hull so it's got shallow draft and there you go. I love that they actually put weapons on it. This is great. Germans build great war machines. Looking at you, France. I'll fuck it up. 32 is like our Mark 54. Okay, I'll have to look that one up, BD, because I thought our Mark 54 was 40 centimeters. And 32 centimeters is not 40. But you could be right. I'm not an expert in the Mark 54. I'll show you should buy some of these. Yeah, this is a great frigate, man. And it's built by a great shipyard. Like I said, Germany has a long history of designing and building very, lethal weapons. Let's see what this one is here. I think this is the sensor. I can't really zoom in on this too much. So we got the forward high energy lasers right there. There's supposed to be a high energy laser back here as well. Sea Spider anti-torpedo torpedoes. That's why it's so small. It's not a torpedo at all. It's a torpedo killer. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I bet you the Germans have an anti-torpedo torpedo that works. I bet you they do. I'd give them credit for that one. They don't even need to prove it to me because they're good engineers, man. I love them or hate them. They build great stuff. All right, let's move on to North Korea. North Korea's been busy, haven't they? They've been producing a lot of rockets lately, supposedly all by themselves, but I don't know. Not everybody I talk to believes that. But let's go to hisutton.com and see what H.I. Sutton has to say about North Korea's Pukguksong or Polaris submarine ballistic missiles. You got PK-1, 5, and this new one. This is really what we're going to look at is this new missile here that they just unveiled this month. And we don't know really what it is. There's a picture of it right there. Could be a mock-up. It's got a guide right here, so it could be tube launched. You know, right? So it could be a vertical tube like a ballistic missile. Certainly, it's too big for a torpedo. Look how big around that is. But let's see what Mr. H.I. Sutton, the actual expert, talks about, rather than my ramblings. He says, North Korea unveils so many new missiles that it's hard to keep up. Some submarine launched missiles, which are one of the key focuses, the trend has been bigger and bigger. The missiles are getting bigger and bigger. Things have progressed from the PK-1, first shown in 2015, to the PK-5, revealed earlier this year. And that's this big behemoth of a missile here. The thing's huge compared to the other ones. He says, now we have a new missile that's on display in an internal arms show. It is something of a mystery because it's smaller than the earlier ones. So the trend has been each one of their next generations of missiles gets larger and larger. That's kind of the pattern that we've seen in the past with them. And a lot of that is increased range. It has more fuel, essentially. And so it can go farther and farther. And then this month they released this thing. So what the hell's this? Right? We don't know. We don't know. So let's go down here and see what he says. H.I. Sutton writes, the missile is at least circumstantially connected to the submarine-launched weapons. So we believe it's an SLM. It is, however, much smaller in diameter and a bit shorter, too. This places it closer to India's K-15 or South Korea's Humu 44 missile. So the arguments for it being a submarine-launched missile are... It is displayed next to two other known submarine-launched missiles in the same display, implying that it's a submarine-launched missile. It had generally the same black and white test paint scheme, which is different to most ground-launched missiles on display. So that even the paint scheme is naval in nature. There was no vehicle or other launch apparatus associated with it, unlike ground-based weapons on display at this show. Now, that's all circumstantial, right? We don't know. So the arguments against is, from the limited photographs seen, it does not appear to have a gas generator attached. So whenever you launch a missile from a submarine, you have a gas generator on the bottom that is activated. It creates an overpressure from the bottom of the tube going upward, pushing anything in that tube out. A lot of times, that's a missile. So it does not have that. So how could it possibly be launched from a submarine tube if it doesn't have a gas generator? I have the answer, but I'm not going to share it with you today. Or ever, actually. So with limited photographs, it has no gas generator for launching it from a submarine's missile tube. Both the PK Song series missiles have displayed with their gas generators attached. The absence of a gas generator would differ with surface launch, like the PK Song 2. It's also smaller, seemingly a backward step with the progression. Yeah. So it possibly could have its own gas generator. It's a brand new missile. They wanted to show it off, but they don't have the gas generator made yet, perhaps. So it's not even there because, like I said, this thing may not even be operational. This may just be what they're working on right now, and they wanted to show it off. Keep in mind, this is an internal weapons show to North Korea. So, like, it's North Korea showing off what North Korea can do by invitation only. Maybe there's some Chinese people there. Who knows? But this is not open to the public. And if it was, or if media was allowed here, media outside North Korea, we could actually get close-up pictures of this and just see if this is a hunk of junk. Is this just a piece of plastic that's been molded into the shape of a torpedo or a missile? Because it could be a decoy, a deception, basically. Saying, hey, look what we got. You know, because North Korea is all about bravado and trying to make themselves appear stronger than they actually are. That's part of their defense strategy nationally. And so I'm very suspect of anything that comes out of North Korea, especially whenever it's a fuzzy photo like this taken by the state media. Okay. Initial thoughts on the new missile. So this is H.I. Sutton, proclaiming or, just opining. He's opining now. The PK Sung family of missiles are very large, which makes them a challenge to fit on board North Korean submarines. The locally designed Gore class could carry only one. The modified Soviet-era Romeo class boats. North Korea's largest can only carry three of these. I'm talking about these missiles up here. Can only carry three of these. And even if they do so by comprising their already modest endurance, so North Korea would be looking for smaller ballistic missiles. So what he's talking about, the endurance thing, if the Romeo mod class, the Simpo C, did have three of these tubes like we think that they do, this area down here used to be the aft battery well. Like you see the battery well here, they essentially cut the number of batteries that they have for submerged operations in half by taking one of the two out. So whenever they're submerged, everything on board the submarine is powered by this bank of batteries here, exactly half of the number that they used to have. And that was to make way for these longer tubes. This is a really good drawing, by the way. He draws these in MS Paint because he's a freaking madman. Yeah, I don't know how he does it. Great website. Go to hisutton.com, and he started a YouTube channel. Now, I'm not taking credit for that, but I think he might have got the idea from someone he knows. So make sure you check out H.I. Sutton's Covert Shores YouTube channel, because he does videos now too, where you can hear him talk about these things, and he goes into real depth. He's a real analytical person, very smart, and knows a lot more than I do about foreign submarines. A lot of what I've learned came from him. So he is the master. You definitely want to check out H.I. Sutton. In missile terms, he continues here, to compromise. In missile terms, the compromise with the range and throw weight with the South Korean and Japan are the targets, this will be less of a limitation. Yeah. So if this smaller, obviously the rocket engine in this is going to be a lot smaller than in the bigger missiles. So the range is going to be hampered, but they don't need to nuke the United States with every weapon that they make. This weapon could be designed for intermediate range targets like Japan, Okinawa, Guam, Taiwan. If they want to help out China, that'd be a huge mistake, but they could do it. Okay. And he wraps up here with, possibly the North's regime has been influenced by South Korea's use of smaller ballistic missiles, KSS-3 class. However, there is no sign of a submarine development, and the missiles are still very large for North Korean submarines. Yeah. So we don't know. I just thought I'd show this picture to you. There's a new missile out now. They've been producing, like this missile just came out this year publicly, and now they're introducing this one 6 months, 8 months later, moving pretty fast. What do you guys say? Like Iran with their Photoshop launches. Yeah. Now that people are getting on to Photoshop, we're seeing less and less of that, but it does happen. Fish says, are they going for a tube in tube so they can launch 3 or 4? Oh, like with this missile, because it's shorter, the next submarine that they build, he's suggesting, could have batteries in this area because it doesn't need to be as long. And because it's smaller, they could maybe, instead of 3 tubes, put 4. I think that's certainly something that they could do. What North Korea really needs to do, and I don't know if they have this capability, but they need to start from scratch. Design a brand new submarine that can launch these new missiles, and maybe the old ones. Maybe they make 2 different classes, one that shoots the ballistic long-range missile and one that can shoot more of the intermediate missiles. But stop. This is an old Russian boat that was built in like the 60s, I think, maybe the 50s, but at least the 60s. And it's still in operation because they just keep modifying it and being like, hey, it doesn't leak yet. Let's keep going, Eventually, this thing is going to freaking sink, guys. I'm telling you. This is like the B-52 of submarines. It's been out there forever. Thanks, Russia. I mean, in some facets, that's a compliment to Russia on their build quality. It was a very old boat. Quit telling North Korea how to win. Oh, okay. Sorry. See, hey, I'm opining too. I can opine. I like that word, opine. Hope I'm using it right. H.I. Sutton is undoubtedly a clever man, but I still ... You didn't finish your sentence. You don't like H.I. Sutton? He's awesome. I don't know. I'm a fan, so what can I say? It's like a baseball fan talking about Babe Ruth, right? People love Babe Ruth. Everyone compares, even today, pitchers and hitters to Babe Ruth, which is a bit overdone. Well, H.I. Sutton is my Babe Ruth. Yeah. The NWS Charleston right now. Any advice? Oh, what? Yeah, study hard. Don't skip night study. If you're in power school, make sure you go to night study. That's my one bit of advice. Embrace that you don't have a life for right now, and it will pay great dividends once you graduate. And good luck, Moniker. And why are you here? You need to be studying. leave some bits at the door and go study. He says, I can hear Daryl yelling at his screen from here. The new missile looks like a SAM. It does look a little bit like a SAM because it's got that pointy nose. Yeah. You're about to see you're about to see something cool. You guys want? So talking about this Korean show, right? Again, it's a private show. It's invitation only. North Korea showing off their things. So these might be mock-ups. These may not be real. So let's keep that in mind. But going back to the WarZone, Thomas Nudick writes, this is our best look yet at North Korea's new hypersonic missile. And that's this little orange bordered thing here. It looks like a triangle. It looks a lot like our hypersonic glide vehicle that we're producing. I'm not saying they stole it from us, but it is very similar to what public images of our own weapon look like. Okay, let's see what Thomas has to say about North Korea has staged an unprecedented exhibition of some of its most advanced weapon systems, including recently revealed hypersonic boost glide vehicle missile system, as well as an integral new missile design apparently intended for launch from submarines. That's the one that we just talked about. This display of military technology comes amid rapid development in the field of missile systems, both in North and the adversarial South. The North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was on hand to review the weapon systems that were on display yesterday as part of a self-defense 2021 exhibition held in the capital of Pyongyang. To mark the 76th birthday of the ruling Workers' Party, Kim took the opportunity to declare the country was building up an invincible military to face off perceived aggression of the United States. The North Korean leader has pointed to the military developments in the South and described the country's efforts in the direction as being to prevent war itself and to literally increase war deterrence from the protection of national sovereignty. Okay, I can't zoom in on that. Attracting the most interest at the Pyongyang exhibition was North Korea's claims is a new hypersonic missile apparently intended to carry a nuclear warhead. The first test of this weapon, called the Hwasong-8, was reported late last month. As predicted, the weapon comprises a ballistic missile carrying a boost glide vehicle. Previously, the North Koreans had released only one photo of the weapon, but now we have a chance to get a better look at the boost glide vehicle, in particular, which appears broadly similar to that used on board China's DF-17 missile. They got it. China helped them, didn't they? However, the North Korean boost glide vehicle is still, for all intents and purposes, a shape, and we have no idea as to whether or not it has been tested in flight after separation from its ballistic missile carrier. What other kinds of test articles might exist in support of the program? So it's not fully tested yet, basically. As the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff said last month, it appears to be at an early stage of development that would require considerable time to actually develop. That said, it is evidence at least that North Korea's grand ambition to enter the exclusive club of nations of hypersonic missile capabilities, as well as developing ever more advanced rockets in general, including apparent introduction of factory-furnished liquid fuel ampoules for increased reliability and stability. So they're working on the reliability of their rocket motors right there. Okay, perhaps other standout items was apparently a new weapon displayed among an array of known submarine-launched ballistic missile designs. The new missile is significantly smaller than the previous SLBM, especially the PK-5, first revealed in January of this year. But its position on the display in black and white marking suggests that it, too, is intended for submarine launch. Unusually, the new system features a distinctive grid fin arrangement at the base, similar to that found on certain Soviet-era short-range ballistic missiles. The compact The compact possibilities offer folding grid fins, which would have resulted in their choice for submarine launched weapon. Okay, so we still don't know if it's submarine launched. Everyone is just speculating that it is. God, he really goes into detail here. This is what I love about the WarZone articles, is they will go into detail on these things as they do here. Another recently revealed North Korean missile included an array of self-defense. 2021 is a surface-to-air missile, SAM, displayed alongside what appears to be 2 new types of air defense radars. This was our closest look yet at the new SAM, which features a 2-stage configuration, no fewer than 4 sets of control fins. They don't have a picture of it. Okay. Other missiles on display were an ICBM tested in 2017 and a rail mobile ballistic missile that was first revealed last month. Yeah, like I said, they've been really busy making new types and more capable missiles out of North Korea. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they're getting this money. Like, they can't afford to feed a lot of their population, but yet they can make all these weapons. It's really weird. At least they got universal health care. That's one thing they got. We don't. Well, not all the weapons display in Self-Defense 2021 have been tested. There are question marks about the practicality of fielding some of these missiles in particular. It seems clear that Pyongyang aims to apply pressure on both South Korea and the United States while negotiations about nuclear weapon program remain stalled. Yeah, the Biden administration is trying to open up talks again with them, but ironically, they don't want to talk to us. Yeah, they're like, we're fine, we're good. You keep them. He does have a comment about the Biden administration. Let's see what he says about Biden. While the Biden administration has made it abundantly clear that it's willing to resume talks to North Korea, offering to discuss lifting sanctions if Pyongyang gives up its nuclear weapons, these overtures have so far been rejected. Instead, North Korea has doubled down on reinforcing the very same capabilities that it's been encouraged to give up. At the same time, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, believes that North Korea has likely restarted its nuclear reactors in Yongbyon, which is believed to produce plutonium for nuclear weapons. That's interesting. So what do you guys think? North Korea, how long do you think it is before this thing is operational? Or will this continue to be just a political decoy, if you will, saying, hey, we have the capability to build this, we just haven't done it yet? What do you guys think? I should go to the expo? I wasn't invited. It's invitation only. Oh, Mike, calm down. I was just joking about the healthcare. Yeah. Man, people get upset. Just jokes, man. Just jokes here. Operational, they keep releasing new missiles every other week. I know, right? Yeah, I agree with you that at some point the credibility that's already pretty low hits rock bottom if they produce 2 new missiles a year like they did this year. Yeah. Oh, and then the SAM with a new radar. So that's like 3 right there. I was just thinking of naval missiles. Yeah. Send Daryl to check out the expo. There we go. Yeah, we should send Daryl. I mean, here you can see it's just a bunch of North Korean dignitaries and generals. I mean, you can't see much. It's kind of fuzzy. You know, can't really tell someone's nationality from the backside, but unless they're from Brazil. But I don't see any Brazilians here. And this is interesting. There's a lady here playing a violin. I guess she's the background music. All right, let's see what else we got. So this is my Skynet story right here. Oh boy. Man, I tell you what, who was at Boston Dynamics, been making some really funny YouTube videos with the robots dancing all around, doing gymnastics and flips and running. And I really want one. I want one of these dogs, you know, that I can walk in the neighborhood. One of the little yellow ones. I want to buy one of those. That's one of my goals. It's going to happen. But now they're putting guns on the dogs, which we all knew this was the goal. You know, the reason why they're being funded and DARPA's getting money is because in the end, these things are going to kill things. You know, they're not just cute and cuddly dancing robots. They're cute and cuddly dancing robots with, you know, Gatling guns on the back like this one here. All right, so let's read from the story from the Drive the WarZone. Robot dogs have now have assault rifles mounted on their backs. Written by Joseph Thervik from October 12th, the WarZone. And there's a picture of it right there, folks. That's some kind of expo. Here is one. Check this out. Can you guys see this really well? Right here. This is the dog in its prone position. Look how low to the ground it gets. And then it pounces. You it comes up and goes. All right. Ghost Robotics and Sword International. Sword International sounds like a damn James Bond villain organization. And they're making these things. Okay. Oh, Lord. I think we're the baddies. I think we might be the bad guys in the future. Anyway, Joseph writes, Ghost Robotics and Sword International have teamed up to create the rifle-toting robot dog called to the Special Purpose Unmanned Rifle, or the SPUR. The system adds a 6.5 millimeter Creedmoor rifle from Sword to one of the Ghost Robotics Quadruped Unmanned Ground Vehicles, or QUGVs. SPUR made its debut at the show floor of the Associated U.S. Army's main annual convention in Washington, D.C. Now, this one I do want to go to. I've already contacted the organizers for this event in 2022. Tickets aren't on sale yet, so can't buy the ticket yet. But I've already got the hotel picked out and everything. Anyway, though Ghost Robotics has partnered with a number of other companies to explore defense security applications, among others, the QUGVs, which you can read more about here, appears to be the first example of one of these unmanned systems with an actual weapon mounted on it. Unarmed examples of the QUGV are notably already limited to the U.S. Air Force's security forces. Okay, so these little dogs have been patrolling the perimeter of Air Force bases for a long time, but without guns on them. They simply detect and report, which is basically a security guard, right? So in terms of the weapon itself, Sword does offer derivatives of the 5x56 45 millimeter for the AR-15 M16 family, as well as a similar but larger caliber guns, more akin to Armalite's AR-10s or Knight's Armament Company SR-25. Those rifles come in calibers of 7.62 and 5.5 millimeter. This is the new hotness right here. This 6.5 millimeter. That's what a lot of the NATO nations want to go to, especially the United States. Okay, or the .300 Norman Magnum. Okay, it goes over all the calibers. They can do pretty much any caliber they want, it seems, on this doggo. All right, but going back to the 6.5 millimeter Creedmoor is not currently in any kind of widespread use by the military or other security forces, either in the United States or elsewhere around the world. However, U.S. Special Operation Commands is notably in the process of acquiring light machine guns and rifles of this caliber, ostensibly to fill intermediate niche in the overall performance between the existing 5.56 and 7.62. And you can read about that there. Lots of good links in this article. Really well done. He says, there is limited information about the SPUR available now, but the WarZone has already reached out to Ghost Robotics for more information. Ghost Robotics says SPUR is capable of precision fire out to 120 meters. Wow, that's pretty good. That's nearly 3,940 feet. This unmanned system already features impressive stabilization capabilities, simply result of quadruped design. Yeah. Wow, this thing could shoot you from almost a half a mile away, more than half a mile away. When our robots move around and you shove them, these forces are computed at 2,000 calculations per second per leg. The Ghost Robotics CEO, founder Jaron Perikin, told the WarZone's Brett Tingley in an interview last year, adding that the system is designed in such a way to work to ensure that it can keep functioning even if various onboard sensors it can use to help move around fail. We're adjusting it to make it more like a mammal. Our robot, when you see it climbing stairs and walking and running around, we turn off all the sensors. It's just feeling. It's completely blind. The reason we do that is because as a warfighter in a mining company, if anybody is using our robot, this robot had better operate 99.99% of the time. So whenever they make these little online videos, they turn off some of the sensors. So they're actually more capable than what we see on YouTube. And honestly, the YouTube is pretty impressive. Wow. So they're more farther along than they portray themselves. That's not scary. Oh boy. Okay. As for targeting, the SPUR module appears to have its own sight system on top. In past testing, the U.S. Air Force has conducted using unarmed QUGVs operators utilizing the Android Team Awareness, or ATAC, app that can be installed on a tablet-like device. You could go hunting with this thing. This is the redefinition of the hunting dog. You don't even have to leave your couch. You go hunting, send the dog out there, it shoots the deer, drag it back. Wow, this is nuts. You can control this thing from your Android phone, just like this airman is doing here. Craziness. Spur could also have some degree of additional autonomy now in the future. Oh my God, that's a bad idea. This thing could go off on its own, potentially employing artificial intelligence and driven capabilities. I swear to God, this is the most evil idea I've ever heard. And they're bragging about it. This thing could be a nightmare. This is what horror movies are made of. Jesus Christ. Why are we doing this? Okay, back to the CEO. He's talking. He says, these dogs will be an extra set of eyes and ears while computing large amounts of data at strategic locations throughout the Tyndall Air Force Base. Isn't that the one in Florida? I forget where that one's at. Anyway, he says they'll be a huge enhancement to our defenders and allow flexibility for posting a response to our personnel. I mean, I get that, yeah, it's an extra set of eyes. It's a really capable tool. Do not give it autonomy. Do not let it go out and shoot things, you idiots. Holy cow, that's such a bad idea. The option now of arming the QUGV adds a new tier of capability to these unmanned systems. Like, I have to laugh at this. This is comic villain bad, right? This is crazy. At the same time, the idea of arming a quadruped unmanned system, which already prompt very different kinds of reactions compared to more traditional unmanned systems, may suit unfavorably with some. That might be the understatement of the day right there. Those types of responses may well increase just as Ghost Robotics products line, including some unarmed type, becomes increasingly more autonomous. This is a warning. Do not do this. Holy cow. Okay, I'm almost afraid to read chat. What do you guys think of this? Oh my God. T1000 incoming. I don't see. Yeah, I see this eventually just getting more and more advanced, more and more autonomous. There's going to be a mishap. This thing is going to hurt somebody. Heli Pilot says they've been using robots as COVID police. They're walking around Dubai Expo. One told me the other day for not wearing a mask. Oh, holy crap. Did you go to the Dubai Expo? Heli Pilot, if you have any photos or anything you'd like to share from the Dubai Expo, please contact me. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to go to that one, right? Or I don't like going outside. So anyway, Pook says, wasn't America developing Fire Ant EFP 10 years ago? I think that's a little bit of a myth. Yeah, that might have been like an idea we had, but I don't think we developed it. Preston says, did you see the Israel suicide drone they are bringing to the world market? No, I did not. That's crazy too. Don't do that. These are all bad ideas. Armathon says, great to see Terminators are coming out nicely. I know, right? Can you imagine one of these things hunting you? How terrifying that would be. You'd be like, I hope this thing runs out of juice soon. How good are its batteries? Yeah, this is bonkers, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm a little bit in shock that they're bragging about this as if this is a good idea. I mean, obviously this one's on our side, right? They're like, well, it's on our side, therefore it's good. If it's autonomous, it's on its own damn side. How would they get up if they fall? Yeah, they said that they don't really fall because even if you walk up to it and kick it, it can react fast enough to not fall on its side. That's what the YouTube videos show as well. Like, they have guys run up to these things broadside, kick it to knock it over. And its reaction time is so fast, it can take its legs and position itself to absorb the shock. Yeah. It's like an ad cap on land. Yeah, exactly. Turkey already has autonomous suicide drones. Yeah, they do. And they used them in the war with Armenia. It was either earlier this year or last year. Yep. An autonomous suicide drone killed tanks in the Armenian War, 2020, 2021. Yeah. So Turkey has that distinctive honor of having the first robot kill decision point autonomously. Yeah, Boston Dynamics YouTube stream is good. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is like the Boston Dynamics. I think this is a competitor, to be honest with you, but it's the same technology. It's the same design, same idea. Someone call Sarah Connor because we're coming. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here for today for the naval news segment. We'll be right back with some more cold waters in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.